Late December 2024 with the Lovelocks of Sunninghill. Rough cut photo trails and video clips. Right, what I'll do is a quick glance here. There's Homer. And yes, coming along, there's the robot boat. And yeah, there's June's car, just back from shopping a little while ago. And the key thing is that this is just a rough cut with various video clips thrown together. And what will be confusing, yeah, there's Lady Michelle's pussycat. Hello, lady. Is when I'm referring to photo trails, they won't be the same photo trails, even recent. So this, I'm shooting this using my smartphone. Let me just turn the light on. Might be better. There we go. Right, into the kitchen briefly. So June's not back long from shopping, having a bit of lunch. It's Samantha. Good work was done by Michelle a day or two back. All been the photo trails, not just the blocked sink fixed, but other things. And hopefully Samantha will be helping Mummy a bit more in the coming days. So she started to, as you'll see in the photo trails. Yeah, that's my untidy study. Lots of pictures of old friends up on the walls. Yes, paintings done by family and the expensive Renoir. Yes. And in here, this is their lounge. I'll be running into the introduction that was shot that started about here, and I think it'll explain things like Baldrick's cunning plan about getting Samantha more involved in helping June and giving me more time for relaxing in the village. So let's run into that clip and then the photo trails. And don't forget, these photo trails approaching Christmas, not to be confused with what I might be referring to as photo trails in the clips that are used. Yes, I'm in the lounge at the moment and I'm having to improvise with my smartphone instead of a camera. And so most of this video, apart from the photo trails in the middle, will be earlier clips shot probably a week ago and other stuff. Anyhow, right now we're at the stage of newsletters going out. Some were posted yesterday, and that's the online Christmas newsletter. And there are various printable versions, shortened versions there. And I find this very difficult what I'm doing at the moment, but not to worry. So what shall I say? Oh yes, that's Robin's Naughty Corner. The earlier material will show you things, and yeah, coming through, you see Christmas decorations going up. Yeah, glance at this untidy room here. So work has been going on that. Not a lot. And yeah, Samantha's been doing a bit of hoovering recently, and Baldrick's cunning plan that he told me was to get Samantha more involved in helping June with housework and possibly other things. So there's, as you'd expect, tennis on the television, as Samantha is actually helping June there. That's the new dryer which appears on photo trails. This is the kitchen. Right now we've got a blocked sink. You'll see that in the details of the photo trail. So a lot of this might be of use for guys that are going to help with property maintenance in the broadest sense. So I'll give a quick glimpse of the garden, but the same thing will appear on the material that was shot I think a week or so back. And so what I'm going to do here is, after this, what I should mention is Baldrick's cunning plan last year was the process that was very successful of creating space in the garden for putting things, and we just need to do that work of putting things in the right place. And as I often say, people often tell me where to stick things, but Baldrick's recent cunning plan in the last few months was for me to avoid jumping in and doing work, but instead to encourage Samantha to come out of her room and instead of sat up there watching television, and help June with the housework, and actually move from the point of view, well, not a housework, all the odds and ends. And in fact, there was progress on that with putting up Homer, which you'll see in the photo trails. And of course, one of the bonuses is it means that it's good for my well-being, because I can spend much more time down in the village, in cafes, and most important of all, in the Comrades Club. Some people call it networking. And of course, it's all to do with hobbies and charitable causes. It's nothing to do with avoiding work or delegating work. Anyhow, that's enough talking for myself. I think one thing I could try and do, if I can do this, I'm obviously in selfie mode, which I'm completely unfamiliar with, is a quick glance of Homer on video as opposed to in the photo trails. So this is Homer. Hello, Homer. And yes, hello. And so that was one of the things that, one of the jobs that Samantha helped early on, improvising, getting a solution there. It's the nitty gritties in the photo trails. So I'll go back where I was. The whole thing is rather disorganised, as you can see, and I hope these clips to come together in a relatively organised way, if that's possible. I'll try and end on our porch, where the last video, which was early December, started. This is our front porch, and here is the flatulent fairy. So we'll start about here. This is the flatulent fairy out the front, which may go up one of the trees for Christmas. But you see, I'm having to use my smartphone because I haven't managed to get to use any of the other cameras. I'm wearing the Father Christmas gear. Now what I'm going to do is, after this clip, there'll be an introduction that was shot probably a week ago for another video, and then the photo trails, and then I wrap up with the usual stuff about global warming and DVLA. So here's the robot boat, and you'll see the photo trails for the last day showing that the wind had blown it down, and so that lamp, which is still working, he says there, so it's still working, but it's broken off there, so that has to be fixed. And there's Snoopy the Viking. You'll better put that in a better place down there. So you'll see the detail in the photo trails. So what I'll do now is, yes, that's the front of the house. I'll run into the introduction that was shot a little while ago. And these really will be rough cut because I'm messing around with two cameras. This one will probably fail soon. Anyhow, first the introduction. Where we live at 22 Armitage Court. Signs about fierce guard cats. Where GPS was tested from the late 1980s. Down at this spot here. Oh, the garden sculpture seems to have got disappeared, knocked about. Oh dear. And yes, if you want more about the robot boat, look at earlier photo trails like end of October or something like that. But that's Snoopy's robot boat. Loads of work needed on that, with the help of others. It might possibly be suitable to be tested this year, but as I say, look at the earlier photo trails for more. Coming down, June got her car back after work done on it, and very pleased with that. That gets mentioned in the photo trails, and of course I'm not allowed to drive. That's all covered by the public information. And yes, the cat fort. This is for the fortunate people who haven't had to put up with my videos being put up. So that's lovely blue skies, and here we come to where I go through the process of warning you, health and safety and all that, but don't forget they are just jokes. And so before we actually go into the house, yes, that's the flatulent fairy. We're getting close to Christmas, so this year it might be ready to go up on a tree, and we've got quite a few around here. And yes, there's lots of other gadgets around here. They appear in earlier photo trails in more detail, but the important thing are the warning signs. And don't forget, these are just jokes, because some people will say, oh, you daren't say that. So first of all, closed circuit TV cameras inside and out the house. Sound and video is monitored in local houses and elsewhere. There's just one example. There are many cameras everywhere. No trespassing. Violators will be shot. Survivors will be shot again. And this is my study through there. Do not disturb. I'm disturbed enough already. And since cameras are the least you have to worry about, oh, by the way, I can see the senior guard cat is coming down. This is Bentley, who, hello Bentley, he's a major protector of the premises, and he's been training. You're probably coming in to have something to eat, I expect, aren't you, Bentley? There you go, Bentley, you can go in. You don't have to. June, Bentley's coming through. Okay, Bentley, in you go. Yes, that's the feeder, peanut feeder for the wildlife that come. Go on in, Bentley, you can go in. You don't have to worry about Toadie. I'm not going in until I've read those warning signs. It's all to do with health and safety. Now, as I said, cameras are the least you have to worry about. Bentley is an example. He's the senior guard cat that's been training Toadie. If he's carrying firearms, it won't be obvious. Easy to carry surveillance equipment. Right, here we go. This one's important. Home of mad ex-NATO scientist Robin Lovelock. Beware of web cameras and water squirters loaded with water, paint, acid, DNA tracer or nerve agent. Robin would not be mad enough to test these, or would he? Just a joke, of course. Right, I think that's it, yes. Visiting cards. You'll see I'm growing a beard for Christmas. What does that do about things like visiting cards or ID, photo ID, let alone systems that recognise your face in order to decide what to do? Right, I think that's it. I think it's safe to go into the house. So I'll just put that where it was. Nobody picks those up. Right. Yes, I think it. Oh, I didn't point out the camper. This is what takes Snoopy down to the coast for an attempt on crossing the Atlantic. And it's got battle damage. June said Robin did it. Robin said the wall did it, but the wall is okay. Right, I think it's safe to go into the house now. So, and at any time I might suddenly stop the video because the camera will have gone flat on here. Okay, June, give it a wave. There you go. Right, untidy games room, and with the right help, and that's what these photo trails are largely about, getting help, because the place, things need to be put in the right place. Earlier photo trails will probably show it much better. I'll close this door for the moment. Right, into the kitchen. Oh yes, here's Bentley. We don't want him to disturb you, especially because he can be quite violent when he wishes to, but he only uses violence when it's absolutely necessary. Right, so yeah, that was a bit of work that was done some time ago now, at least a year or two back. Most of the work is out in the garden. Probably won't get a chance to show it. Right, let Bentley carry on eating there. That's okay, is it, Bentley? Thought so. Right, so quick glance at the lounge. About the only room that is untidy. Things like diary, radio, computer, COVID graphs, other bits and pieces, and Robin's naughty corner. That's the important bit, because that's got comfortable furniture for me to relax in the evening and eat. Oh, and here's Toadie. Toadie is our guard cat. Toadie, hello. No playing. Okay, you're relaxing, are you? You're supposed to be on duty here, right? No attacking me. Right. That's the dreadlocks from a party some time ago. Yes, oh, and that's another one that appears on, I think it's the Catamaran video. Anyhow, that closer key TV, that's just for the channels. There. I expect this camera's going to go flat any time. But, okay, Bentley. What are you going to do? Check out things, I suppose. Right, what I'll do is I'll go out this way. As I say, the camera might go flat any time. Few things here. Haven't tidied it up. It's all a matter of doing higher priority things. And which in recent months means going down to the village and spending time there. Oh, there's Alexa's sailing saucer. Gets a special page on the Snoopy Robot Boat page. Yeah, friends everywhere. Even during difficult times. Peanuts. Out into the garden. And what I'll do is, since this might still be running, I'll say we go into the photo trails here. Oh, hello Bentley, you decided to come out this way, have you? Right, okay. Yeah, well, that's a good idea, you could check things out. Right, so I might continue this shoot, so goodness knows what will happen when I edit this video, but let's say, so the photo trail will probably start about here. Thursday the 19th of December 2024, starting with a summary of the photos shot that day. Yes, the highlight was definitely the back end of the day with a get together with Armitage and Murray Courts Residents Association, AMRA, in the pub, and then a couple of them in the Comrades Club. Anyhow, rushing on, first thing was to collect, with the help of Samantha, the printouts of the newsletter. 200 copies. This is one of the versions, the one I preferred, from Elite Repro in South Ascot. That went smoothly, and picked them up, and then Samantha helped me the process of going around door to door, first of all in Murray Court. Yes, hard work, lots of exercise walking, but less work than the year before, and much due to Samantha. And then on with the same thing we did Armitage Court. The key thing is that rather than carry them all around with me, Samantha was following me, supplying me with the folded versions. Yes, so all that went well. And looking at the time now, yes, it's planned to have a meeting, and that reminded me of an old video of those Armitage and Murray Court kids back in, what was it, 2001? And those those lads are still
and lasses are still on the estate. And that video went out into 200 million homes, but the video that I got on YouTube also includes the trade-in of the kids. Anyhow, that's running on, and where are we up to now? Looks like I'm going out, down to the village. This is probably walking down to the Duke, or the Duke's Head as it used to be called. The get together with Amber Resonance. I only took several pictures, but of course there's Patrick Peters and lovely conversations, and of course other people were taking selfies, and I might get well, groups of us. So then I went into the Comrades Club, and shortly after met by these two guys again, Armitage Court, and yeah, back home, getting quite late now, and yes, check the tracker so anybody could see where I was. Oh, Robin's been in the Comrades Club, and when he came out and got back home, just here, and yeah, look at it, 20 to 12, so practically ready. Put trackers on charge, or make sure June had to put hers on charge. Time for bed, and that must be the end of the photo trail, is it? Or no, I don't know. I'm getting mixed up here. Was that the summary? Yes, I think it was. So now we're going in the photos in the order that they were shot. Yes, the summary was quite long, but it did cover everything. So it's obviously the same pattern, but yeah, so that was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and yes, June and Samantha relaxing, watching tennis. That was from Jeddah, and yes, so a few snaps around the garden, and then Samantha has agreed to make my job easier by ferrying me around. The first place was, of course, over to Elite Repro in South Ascot. I don't know, 5 minutes probably by car. Yeah, so a few snaps along the way, past the Beresteed roundabout that used to be a crossroads, and through into South Ascot. Yeah, the playing fields, the Swinley pub, and yeah, past the one-stop Tesco, relatively new. Then we turn left there, which is to make our way to the back of the railway station and the little industrial area there. And yeah, found the place. There you go, Elite Repro, and yes, done good business with them before. Very quick and sensibly priced and everything else. So right, so now we're on our way back out. So we're armed with all those copies of the newsletter, and we put them in a plastic bag. But the solution, we're making our way back now to Murray Court through South Ascot, and the solution I came up with was we folded them ready so that I could just poke them straight through letterboxes, but rather than me do all that together, Samantha could be following me with the car, making sure that she was a few yards away from me. So that looks as though we've probably done that job for Murray Court. Yeah, quite wearing out, because there was quite a lot of walking, but less walking than the year before. So into the house, so Samantha and I take a bit of a rest break. Yes, I check that's processing of the big YouTube video, I think. Just a case of checking how it's coming along. Yes, June's putting things on the Christmas tree. I think we were looking for a fairy, couldn't find it. Right, check the tracker, just yeah, confirm. Anybody interested, including family, could say, oh yeah, he made it to pick up the leaflets or newsletters, and there he's walking around. And of course, I don't know, that walk took about an hour. I think it took longer last year, but anybody interested could say, oh, that's where he is walking around. And yeah, back home just here. So where are we next? 3:15, and of course this is all unscripted, I'm just doing it off the top of my head, but it looks as though we're thinking, right, we'll do Armitage Court next. So we've had our little rest break. That's, yeah, I said, wow, why not that fairy? Yeah, it's a bit too big to go on the top of the Christmas tree, so perhaps that's on our list we'll look for a suitable fairy to put on the Christmas tree. Don't forget it's only the middle of December at the moment. Right, so coming up to 3:30, so we're off to do Armitage Court, armed with the folded versions of the newsletter. And you just say, yeah, not a big job to do, but it does saves time and effort, basically, by two people helping. That's it. I think that was probably job done. Yeah, so they're relaxing, watching tennis, of course. I check how the processing going. Now I've still got a lot of processing, but then suddenly it speeded up, but I can say that in retrospect. So 4:10. Ooh, yes, well, I've done Armitage Court, have another relax, check the tracker. Yes, there's me walking around Armitage Court, however long that took. I'm guessing might have been 3/4 of an hour, might have been less. Anybody could see live, just stay on the page and you'd see. And there's the position. Back home here, 22 Armitage Court. And yes, back in, see how the processing. Oh, it's suddenly gone through. It must have been because of those photos needed a lot less processing than video. So that's coming along very fast. So it's now 5:15 in the afternoon. And yeah, listen to the Radio 4 News. And check to look at the route through to the Duke and roughly how long that's going to take. And then, of course, I found myself playing that old video. And I must admit, it's years since I played all of it. Yeah, Tony Weil. This went out into 200 million homes on BBC World. Lovely. It was, and this was the training which I tacked on the end of the YouTube video. And I must admit, that oak tree was, hardly any size at all. So, what is it, 25 years? No, less than 25 years. It's grown from, 6 foot high and perhaps 3 inches diameter to what it is now. Anyhow, that video went onto YouTube without any real problem. And, yeah, now looks as though I'm planning to go off to the Duke. So, yeah, wearing my appropriate gear. June's watching something or other, probably a drama on the TV. She decided not to join me because she thought, well, she might pick up something. She didn't know how crowded it would be, and her immune system is probably weakened. And of course, if she went into a coughing fit, that would probably worry other people there. So it was just myself, and Samantha chose not to. And yeah, passed a few landmarks on my walk. Getting through the village in order to get to the Duke, and yes, past some lovely decorations, and yeah, so we're getting close. There we are. There's the Duke, or the Duke's Head, as I still call it, what it was originally. And yeah, and there's Patrick Peters. So that was one of the few ones I took, and I think that's Heather, yeah, and Gavin. I can't miss it. But of course, there were lovely conversations, and lots of people were taking pictures on their smartphones, and so in slower time, hopefully some of those people will email them to me. And yeah, I'd even check the tracker on my smartphone. Of course, the pictures are blurred because I haven't got the focusing right on that little camera. Yeah, give you a flavour of it. I think there might have been roughly about 16 people in that ballpark. I'm sure there was less than 20. Doesn't matter. It was a lovely gathering, chatting to people, catching up. Now, those two guys from Armitage Court, as I suggested, followed me into the Comrades Club. So I signed them in, and we had a good few minutes. They got a chance to see what the place was like, but very, very quiet. Hopefully they might come in another time. So back home now. Yes, check the tracker. Yeah, coming home from the Comrades Club. Anybody went on the contact page and just looked at it, say, oh look, they can see moving it update every couple of minutes. Back home here to 22 Armitage Court, just here. So yeah, better wrap up now, I think. Yeah, make sure my tracker's on charge. Going to the kitchen. Yes, June's already put hers on charge. Time for bed. So that is the end of the photo trail. Friday the 20th of December 2024. 28 minutes of photos, including this 3-minute summary. Yes, that's Lady Michelle's pussycat. That's right at the end of the day. She's prowling around in the lounge. Well, I was wrapping up things for the day. That was well after midnight. Yes, yeah, 1:05 in the morning. Yes, so checking the tracker, and June's at tennis. These photos have been moved around to tell the story better, and I think she decided to go down to Marks and Spencer's shopping. So yes, the tracker showed get in there, and yeah, 1:05 in the afternoon. So I was doing other things early in the day. Yeah, so she's on her way back now, and as it goes past that area, it reminded me of mucking about with the army guys and the Barossa Rangers. And yeah, looks like she should be arriving any moment. So I go out, and yeah, here she comes in. And so I think I'll take the photos, and the tracker, yeah, that's there, and the shopping. So give her a hand bringing some of the shopping in. Of course, I shouted for Samantha, and Samantha came down and helped. Oh yeah, hard work carrying one bag, I think it was. Yeah, and one of the other activities was the spare SATCOMS tracker, spare trace. So again, that activity spread through the day in parallel, but checking that, it was almost working, but not right. I had to do a bit of soldering as well. That was part of the exercise, putting it in the box and putting it in the car. And yeah, that was the trip later in the evening to Ascot Station to pick up Michelle. Down here carrying Lady in a little box or mobile house. And we get back home, and June Russell's up a pizza just for Michelle. So they eat that, and Lady's relaxing, and Toadie doesn't seem to notice that Lady's on the high ground there. Anyhow, they seem to get on okay, just about. And yeah, Lady's relaxing there. I decided to have a banana. I'd had a late lunch anyhow. 10 to 9 now. Yes, looks like I'm armed to go down to the Comrades Club, down past Homer, and into the village, into the Comrades Club. And yes, there was a chat, long call from Paul, I think it was, calling me back. And yeah, one of the guys I was chatting to about telescopes and things, interesting. And yeah, back home, look at the time there, yeah, 25 to 1. And Lady is then prowling around, up to all sorts of mischief, and she knocked over the tranny radio, and the cover fell off. I don't know where it is. Anyhow, shutting down the PCs for the night, time for bed. So that's the end of the summary. So now in the photos in the order shot, and of course we've got lots of overlapping activities. So that's processing the video for the day before, the Thursday, and yes, the lounge, Christmas tree, and yeah, June's tracker. Yeah, that shows her where she had been earlier at tennis. Yeah, playing tennis there. That was in the morning with Samantha, I think, who stayed on longer, if I've got it right. And then she decided to go off to Marks and Spencer's. And yeah, past the Royal Military Academy and other things. Yeah, check the details of the tracker in terms of speed and everything, all working. Switch type of map, yeah, that's working well. Past the various temples and churches and things, and yeah, so that's working well. And yeah, relax, of course. And yeah, so a little bit of work. That tracker that's been sat there for some time, and then the bright idea is, I was looking for some bits that had fallen out and got lost, like the screws that screw it on. There's only 2 left, and I suddenly thought, the spare SATCOMS tracker, not the spare one, sorry, the one that was in Snoopy's boat, more or less written off. I've kept it with all those old bits from Snoopy Sloop's last thing, and it had so much salty water in it that it had written it pretty well off. But of course, some basic things like screws are still okay. anyhow, I used the opportunity to take a few snaps in the garden, so bringing that back indoors. And then of course, well, pointing out there, not sure, oh yes, I reminded that peanuts needed to go out. Yeah, I don't know what that sign language means. Oh yes, don't tell June, no. But that rose I've been knowing for some time. I wanted to cut it right down because it was blocking the sundial. So going out the garden reminded me of it. So I thought, right, I'll cut it right back. I understand that that's okay at this time of the year. So I did that. And he said, but put things back in the right place. So that's the, whatever you call them, cutters with all the other stuff. And that's where the cut off bits of rosebush have to go. And that sundial now, oh yes, that's the Gunra manticata. That's a job sometime later, making sure there's straw over it and things so it's protected from frosts and things. Right, so what are we doing next? Oh yeah, just one or two snaps around that area, which appears on earlier photo trails. Nothing really been done, but it was all put in quite a good state over the last year or two. And yeah, that's the clock, and that was reading the wrong time. Looks as though it needed to be adjusted, and set it to the same time, about 12:15 midday. And yeah, it was wasn't too bad a process. Oh, there's the thermometer. That looks to be working. All okay. So back into the games room, and meanwhile, looks like other things are going on. Oh, the tracker shows June. Now, is that she's got to Marks and Spencer's? Probably. And yeah, processing of that video, putting a sound commentary on it, like I am for the Friday, but that was for Thursday. That was Patrick on that title frame. Right, 1:05 in the afternoon, and what have we got next? Yeah, just a few snaps of things. I quite like that sign. Very true, of course. Right, so June's in Marks and Spencer's, and yeah, have a bit of a relax for a few minutes, and then a bit more work on the spare spot tracker. And yeah, use the right screwdriver for the little Phillips screws. So basically I was able to get 4 spare screws. I only needed 2, but that was useful. So the only thing I wasn't so sure is how the connections get from one half where it holds the batteries to the other half that has the electronics. Wasn't sure about that, and I thought there'd been some little springs that pressed up, but those probably got lost last time I opened it, probably within the last week, and probably fell on the floor, or they were already missing, I don't know. So right, put that back where it belongs. That's the spare one, but with only 2 screws in it, because I've taken 2 screws for the use in the other one. Just 1 or 2 snaps around the so-called laboratory in the summer house, then back up, yeah, past the pond and the patio area, and the TV and computer, looking up, all lots of stuff to be trimmed, but yeah, it's a very low priority job. Oh, even a camera there, lots of extra cameras around, all part of property maintenance, isn't it? It's just a matter of what's urgent. There's the sink that it still hasn't been any work done on it, but of course Michelle is coming down later on that day, and I can say now, recording this on the next day, that a massive amount of progress was being made with Michelle, and Samantha very much in the loop. Right, that looks as though the tracker says that June is probably on the move from Marks and Spencer's. Oh yes, Samantha's watching television in her room. Oh, and yeah, a little bit of embroidery hobby. And there's Toadie relaxing on Michelle's bed, because Michelle's coming back late that evening. We didn't know at the time, of course, but what time she'd be arriving. I think one sort of trains were cancelled. So that's looking out of Michelle's room, and there's Toadie dozing, of course, all a bit blurred on account of the camera and everything, but good enough. As I've said quite a few times, those, I don't like those old 4:3 aspect ratio pictures compared with the wider screen format, but they do. That's the bird feeder up on the roof. I don't bother to top that up as a high priority job because most of the peanuts go from the pigeons. And right, let's looking around on the flat roof, just a reminder of work that needs going up there, but all a matter of priorities, including looking down there. Now I know that, yeah, that's the antenna, they seem to be okay, still not perfect. And down there we've got the old telephone cable that is still been in a terrible state, and that whole length of cable should be changed, but very low priority, especially if they're going to throw the copper wires away and end up with fibre. I picked that up, one of those tickets for if a red kite took an interest, watched by cameras, then threw into the well, that's an extra spare bedroom, but really just access to the roof, and absolutely full of clothing junk mostly, and some nice stuff from when Christina was there. That's a long time ago. Right, looking down the stairs, and yes, Hoover in the hall, and yeah, June's on her way back, coming up through Camberley, that is, I think. Oh yes, I've decided to switch the lights on so you get a bit more light in there, because it gets dark early. That's only 1:45, but means that everything will be a bit clearer. So every now, that's left on the screen, of course, so doing other things every now and again, I have a glance at it, say, oh well, yeah, take a few snaps. So approaching the what was I think the Jolly Gardener roundabout, but for many years it's just been that golf place there. Past Pennyhill Park on the left and Pennyhill Motors, into the middle of Bagshot, and yes, yeah, that area there on the left, that's the Barossa area. They call it Nature Reserve now, but I think it doubles for army training as well. And that was going back a bit, crikey. Yes. Early 90s, I think that exercise was done. And right, still they're on their way up, and the destination is where we are, 22 Armitage Court. And he says, yeah, they should be arriving pretty soon. I say they, I think that was just June on her own. Yes, it was. June had decided to go off on her own for the shopping, so I gave Samantha a shout. Come on, give Mum a hand getting stuff out of the car, putting it away. Yes, there's the website, and there's the shopping in the boot, so I take at least one bag, and there's June's tracker, her key ring. So I do all that heavy work of taking photographs and carrying one bag of shopping into the kitchen, June does, and then Samantha decides to come down from her bedroom and give a hand. Oh, perhaps I carried a second bag as well, goodness me. So they're now in the kitchen, and now that's good because Samantha's helping put, yeah, it's very hard work, isn't it, goodness me, carrying 2 bags of shopping in. Yeah, so now Samantha is helping Mum with putting stuff away in the right place, so that's good. I'd like Samantha to get to the stage where she's managing things and giving suggestions or orders to myself and Mum, but that may be asking too much. Oh, those some old, that's Michelle, who's on her way down from Coventry. Very old pictures on the family page, and made a phone call to find out basically when she's likely to arrive. And at the time of making the phone call, her train had been cancelled, and she thought she was hoping to get away at a time, I can't remember, it was 4:30 or something, yeah, about an hour after I made the phone call. And best guess on looking at train times was that that might be 7:30 in the evening, but very confused by the graphics. Looking on Google Maps, public transport, so making guesses on what times they are. But that red line, that might have been the optimum fastest route, or why choose red? Anyhow, it doesn't matter. I decided to rustle myself up lunch, and so a couple of brioche rolls and contents in, done artistically of course. So yes, relax in my naughty corner, watching the closed circuit TV as I eat. So there were squirrels coming to the top bridge for the remaining few peanuts that were there, and before that was a pigeon, and there's a whatever that is, magpie is it? I'm not sure. Coming down for a peanut. Yep, there he is, got it in his beak, and yes, then he flies off. That's it. Good. Look, Samantha's doing a bit of mopping up the floor. No, that is good. Really good indeed. And looking outside, yes, I thought that I could put some peanuts down. So put that hand where it was, put the peanuts back in the place they've been kept for a while, in the games room. Very untidy of course, but when work's in progress, yeah, like on the spot tracker. Had to find my reading glasses so to see what I was doing, and it looks as though, yes, I had to do a bit of soldering. I think I did that. I couldn't find the springs, which I think was the means of connecting the batteries to the electronics, so I just soldered a pair of wires. I noticed the points I was working to had already had soldered connections to, so I thought, right, now it needs to get a good enough satellite signal for, it's not just the GPS, it's the actual satcoms. So looking at the time of the last report, and that was probably the date of the last report, and then I put it out on Robin's Corner, which is right out in the open with good signals, so that should be enough for it to get enough signal. And of course you're looking, keeping an eye, and it still says the 20th of December, and that's good. I said still, that must have then started to do it. So if I'm reading those numbers correctly and got the date right, and so yes, looks like I soldered that on so that I could plug an external source of 5-volt power, and for the moment that's just another battery. Obviously when you plug them together you've got to be careful, there's similar voltage, but of course that could be solar panels or anything. So that is coming along. I thought, I might as well stick a visiting card on it with the contact details. Bit of an improvised fix, but yeah, then covered it with some transparent outside tape, and yeah, take photographs all the time with that camera. And yeah, so yeah, and then I put that where it has been for some time, which is in June's car, as a means of testing. So whenever she's taken a run, we can see whether that tracker's working. And of course it doesn't update anywhere near as frequently, and in fact as of the end of that day it was far less than that. That's a phone call coming in, but I'm not going to take it. I think I know who it is, and so normally I'm just going to carry on now. So right, there we go. And what else we got here? Oh yes, that's it. I think I know who that is. Yeah, so looking at that reminded me of, I think it was a news item talking about the magnetic pole has shifted. It's sort of off Canada. That was used for the software in the robot boat for correction if we were using the compass, and that was many years ago. Looks like cards. probably cards that might have been received, or was that cards? I think cards had already gone out. So right, now checking that Satcoms, the spare spot T2. So taking it for a long walk, because sometimes the logic in it, I was right through to that corner. The logic in it, I think, if it's working properly, it says, oh, it's got to detect some movement, and it's also got to have moved a certain threshold distance. I think it needs to be reset up again, but that's to be found out in slower time. Right, so right, there we go. No, it's still not right there. That's 6:25 in the evening, or 18:25, and maybe I got it working then. I don't know. I must have done. I think otherwise I wouldn't have put it in the car, would I? I don't know. Yeah, that's it. Probably wasn't working at that stage, but I thought, well, I may as well leave it in the car as anywhere, and it may be that movement would get it working. So Batty says, well, you look at there, and yeah, it looks as though it may have updated the time. Yes, there we go, 6:32 p.m. So it had actually given an update. I suspect it's in the mode of only reporting every hour, and so there is which may be a kind of a default due to it losing power and all the internal information. I thought that was held back on the Spot website, but that's a little job to be done in the background when there's a time to do it. Right, looks like we're probably off to go and collect Michelle from Ascot Station, because we knew her train was coming in within about 5 minutes, and June thought no point in going there too early, and it was fine. Got there several minutes before the train came in, so June stayed in the car. I went through, and a lovely chat with a bunch of guys there. There was contact afterwards, and imagine. But then I saw Michelle come out and go out another exit, so I rushed off to join her, get in the car, and of course those guys sent an email, because I'd given them the visiting cards, because they didn't realise that Michelle had got back safely with her pussycat. So that was another dialogue that is going on, and yeah, so we're home. There's Homer, there's Michelle with Lady in the carry basket, or a little home, and of course Lady immediately starts exploring around, because she really enjoys it down here, roams around all over the place, including the garden and everything, not just the house. And yeah, there's the Spot, not the Spot tracker, no, that's the Spot tracker, and that only, it had said updated positions, but it was consistent with it only reporting every hour. So in other words, it showed us leaving and us being back, but not the journey in between, which was shown by the GoTop trackers, which are typically updating every couple of minutes or so. So that's working fine, and make sure that's on charge. And June's rustled up pizza for Michelle, and yes, they're watching tennis just for a change. Lady's exploring around the house. Oh yes, that was the guy who rang me back, that I'd met at the station, and didn't take very long at all to find out all the details in terms of the trade-in address, which could well be the place they live in, which is a lovely spot in London. And yeah, so that dialogue might go on longer. They were here for watching the races. I think they're going to be back the following week. But anyhow, there's Toadie prowling around the kitchen with Lady sat up on the chair next to June. I'm not sure whether Toadie realised that Lady was up there. If so, he seemed very relaxed about it. And anyhow, I think they're both relaxed with each other. I decided to have a snack before going down to the Comrades Club, no more than a banana, because I'd had a late lunch already. So that says 10 to 3 in the afternoon, so no. Perhaps there was a big gap before I went off down. Yeah, so down on my way to the Comrades Club, I'm sure. Past Homer, down into the village, and yes, into the Comrades Club, and oh, phone call from Paul, that was it. That was lovely. Look, it was quite noisy in there, but it was still good, so catching up. And I did take several pictures carefully in there, and and the subject came up with astronomy, which it has before. Pictures are very blurred, but a guy, basically telescopes was the topic. We've spoken before, but I must admit what I saw on his smartphone amazed me. And so back at home, and it's pretty late now. Look, there you are, 25 to 1 in the morning, and check the tracker, and yes, anybody could see he's watching it live. Oh, Robin's in the Comrades Club. Oh, he's on his way home. And what they don't see is lady mucking about in the lounge while I'm just checking these things and prowling around, and in the process she knocked over the tranny radio that was on the side, and basically you'll see it in a moment, the brief glimpse of it. Oh yeah, so that's back here. That was the tracking stuff. Yes, back here. And put my tracker on charge. And make sure June already had put hers on charge. I put the cue ball, that's a lead weighted cue ball, back where it belongs. And lady's still prowling around, checking things out, including up on the table in front of the television or whatever's put up there. And there, she managed to knock that down, and somewhere that cover for the battery compartment has got left somewhere under the furniture or whatever. Anyhow, time to shut down the computers, time for bed. So that's the end of the photo trail. Saturday the 21st of December 2024, starting with a summary of the photo shot that day. Yeah, a lot happened. That was Michelle's cat, Lady, and the block sink, that was sorted. Brilliant job done. I think total was 4 or 5 hours elapsed, including collecting that white pipe and fittings. And Michelle did a brilliant job, because the old pipe from probably when the extension was done in 81 was a strange wobbly shape. Anyhow, that was the soap. That was the main blockage, apart from other debris. There's Lady overseeing things. Visit from the bandsaws. Of course, they were showing the good work done. And yeah, there's Raj. And what else? Oh yes, video WhatsApp chat with family, back end of the day, overlapping with us eating. And I thought, right, time to go down to the Comrades Club. And I think I had spoken to Yuta earlier, and yeah, we met up there, and enjoyable time, enjoyable conversation. Yeah, there's Yuta. And then we both went back to take the takeaway that Yuta had bought from Nanu's, delivered, and it wasn't until 1:20 that I turned in. So that's the end of the summary. Right, now the photos in the order shot, and so that was coming up to midday before I shot any. And then I noticed that clock in the hall was still on British summertime. Oh, that was a fiddly process, loads of odds and ends, but did that. And yeah, notice the one outside is about right in terms of time. Yeah, all sorts of junk falling down. So put it back, put things straight. Yeah, look at all those keys and things that had been left on the top. Yeah, security violation, that, people knowing stuff like that. Mind you, I don't know what they do with them, because I don't know. Oh yes, that was fallen off the radiator. All property maintenance this is, of course. There's the little camera I'm using, best thing I've got at the moment. And yeah, processing of the video for the day before, that looks like. That's the Friday's video. And yeah, coming out of the study, there's Lady prowling about. Oh, right, looking out of Michelle's bedroom window. There, and there's Lady. Hello, Lady. And there's Michelle's toys. And Yes. And then through to the very untidy extra bedroom where mostly it's access to the roof. Yes, lots of stuff, mostly clothes. Just a record, it's all work to be done if and when we have the effort available. And of course, Baldrick's cunning plan too, which had been mentioned in other places, was to get Samantha more involved in helping June with housework. And after staying on top of that, we can perhaps start moving stuff in the right direction in terms of the place not being so untidy. Anyhow, so that's the block sink problem, and that's been the case for practically weeks, I think now. But the difference is, of course, Michelle had come down the day before, so of course she looked at it in an expert way, and the key thing she noticed, which I hadn't noticed, is that pipe is a really strange shape, and that was the key to it. That it wasn't just unblocking it, it's making sure it doesn't block so easily again. Now, these are just photos I've taken round like a tour. 12 now. Yes, boring stuff. I know you'll find it boring, but it keeps a record of it. So yeah, so Michelle had stripped apart all that stuff, and I was a bit surprised that she did that before taking the trip out to get the replacement. Here's some video now.
This could be a very tricky take, because I'm going to go into where Michelle has been doing work on that leaky sink, and it's a bit frightening really. Right, so
yeah, if you weren't involved, this would be a lot quicker.
yeah, exactly, that's okay, a lot quicker. So how many hours do you think that's going to be? So if I'm taking a minute or two of your time, yeah?
You've taken about half an hour so far.
Half an hour, really? Funny enough, it doesn't match my understanding.
Feels like
Anyhow,
hours.
as I understand it, they've ripped that, or rather Michelle has pulled that apart, and are now going to go to, is it Wix or Groupix to get those bits, rather than get the bits before. She's just looking at where they get those. So that means they should be able to reassemble that, but she's saying, that grey stuff, which she says is welded, well, that's plastic welding apparently. She says, that should be done better, and that's true. So,
But I don't normally put a video clip in there, so I hope the sound sync's okay. Anyhow, so then continues, and yes, relaxing in the kitchen, wondering what to do next, probably coffee. I make a note of things in the diary, of course, and yes, into the study. Yes, that's processing of the video for the day before. That's going on in parallel. And what else have we got? Into the lounge, yes. So the three women are there. Yes, I've decided to rustle up lunch in an artistic way. Yes, very healthy food that. And go into my naughty corner in the lounge, where I can relax and eat and see anything of interest on the closed circuit TV. And there's a squirrel coming for peanuts on the bird feeder in the porch. He runs away because, what's that, a magpie come down? But then the magpie, that's what it's eating, having the peanuts. The magpie flies off. Yeah, the squirrel has come back. Yes, so very enjoyable. And yes, forcing myself to eat. And what else do we have? Yes, right. June's taking Michelle around the corner to Screwfix to get materials, which are basically the long white plastic pipe that was the most significant thing, but also replacement of the bends and things of the pipes that she disassembled. And of course Homer has deflated, so that's a job on the list, and hopefully Samantha will get involved in doing that, probably with Michelle's help, because Michelle will probably know how to do it more expertly than the lash up that we've done. Right, 5 to 3 in the afternoon. All the clocks seem to be saying roughly the right time. And look at the white tracker, which June has got. And yeah, so 5 to 3. That seems to be correct, yes. And it shows on their way to Screwfix, I think. Oh, I'm not sure. But yes, that looks like it. There we go. They've arrived at Screwfix. And there's the time. 14:57, I think. Yeah, so that's working good. Decided to have myself a pudding for part of the lunch break. Now I checked the Spot T2 tracker, and we still have a problem on that. It's working, but it looks as though it's set to a default of only every hour or something. So yeah, work can be done on that. Probably got to go through a setup on it. Looks like, yeah, they're still there. And are they on the move from Screwfix? That's near the station, of course. Ah, yes, they're on their way back. Yeah, on the way back through South Ascot. And suddenly they've arrived. So, not sure what happened there. Maybe where the tracker was. Anyhow, that's the piping that. So, apart from those fittings, which were to replace the ones in case seals had broken and things, and then she used a saw, and yeah, and Samantha started going out on Homer, but I thought no, more important that she spent time with Michelle, seeing how things are done. But of course, Samantha knew more about that job than certainly Mum, from the time I'd spent with Samantha before. Mind you, we didn't actually fix the problem, we just made a start. Right, so that tracker hasn't updated. Don't know if the reason for that, but it's okay later. Ah yes, they'd forgotten to pick up the files, so Mum pointed out where we kept the files and brought them in. I don't know whether they're going to get put back in the same place, but I think they bought some but hadn't picked them up from Screwfix, something like that. Yeah, so I'm checking here, and looks like that's finished processing. That's the video for the day before, photo trails. And yeah, and that's pointing out that pipe comes out there, so she's in the process now of still doing the work. And yeah, coffee break by the look of it. Yeah, back in the study, and that will have finished processing, and so I'll put the commentary on it as I am doing for this one now. And I think that was a phone call and might have been connection with catching up with you two. Oh no, I remember. Yes, it was Alexander, I think, ringing when I was in the middle of putting the commentary on it, and so you hear the phone ringing on the photo trail. Very confusing for people. Anyhow, there's the bits of soap, or just one sample of it, and I put it down somewhere outside just so we know if we want to show anybody. And yeah, so I think afterwards we checked the total hours, including the trip round the corner to Screwfix, and I think Michelle said, yeah, probably from when she started to when she finished with all the job done was no more than 5 hours or something. Anyhow, that was the Spot T2 tracker. There's the camera that I'm using because I don't have anything better at the moment. And yeah, so that's going well. Very pleased with that. Yeah, that was like phone call. Probably can't read it, but I think that was you two chatting about meeting up, probably down at the Comrades Club. Oh yes, that was that was my conversation with Alexander. I think that probably was that conversation, and referring to the email that I'd sent. And good idea to sort of get some basics sorted before talking about any subject in detail. that's all on my contact page in terms of the principles of what one needs to know about each other before speaking in detail. But of course, that's conversation be going on for years. And yeah, so all these things are going on parallel, and it works. You can run the tap and it drains away. I got the torch out, went outside, and yeah, went round to the back, and sure enough, yeah, the water's coming out. Good. So obviously there's another block drain further down underneath. It's a separate job and very much less complicated. And yeah, put the peanuts out, because as I went out I was reminded of those. So on the bridge just outside at the back, and on the front, the porch, and here the bandsaws. And yeah, that was a photo they posed. Yeah, there we go. So they arrived, and obviously was shown round the good work that had been done in the kitchen. We sat in the lounge and chatted, and yeah, so enjoyed that. And then they're off. So some amusement. There's probably a lady walking around, and oh yes, Samantha did do a bit of mopping up, and yes, I think Michelle's suggesting how one does it in terms of cleaning material. I might have got that wrong. There's lady overseeing what's going on, and of course tennis, and June's decided to cook, and there was chicken, and of course the sink is okay now. There's lady, looks as though lady was having something to eat. Right, so it looks like the process of eating, and the video WhatsApp chat has started with family, including my sister Sally and Saskia. So those things are all going on in parallel. Usually quite a long chat through the evening, so I able to still at least listen to what's going on, and while I'm eating, and able to move backwards and forwards occasionally. And oh yeah, they were discussing meeting up for a family get together, and yes, quite an easy job if it's done by the right guy. Yeah, so I'm getting ready to go down to the Comrades Club, armed with my snooker ball. But yeah, there's a deflated Homer, so that's on the job to do, on the list of jobs to do. But I think yeah, a few minutes more will be done properly. So into the Comrades Club. Very few pictures taken. Of course, I was reminded by somebody, and it's quite a long conversation about the care. Yeah, the safe thing is not to take any photos. Anyhow, that was Utah briefly, and we both came back, bringing the takeaway that he'd had delivered to him from Nanu opposite. There's lady, didn't take many pictures, but yeah, 1:20 in the morning, and that's the end of the photo trail. Sunday the 22nd of December 2024, starting with the summary of the photos shot that day. Yeah, starting with a flashback 11 years to showing the pipe work and the work that Michelle did all that time ago. And the photos I'd shot off the screen hadn't come out with those stripes, and I diagnosed that today. I simply didn't have the shutter setting right, it was too fast. Anyhow, starts off, first photos, Samantha put away some tools from the work that Michelle had been doing, and I realised, that's the Homer, easily fixed. Why didn't somebody else see that? Anyhow, it can be tidied up by somebody else. So that was a good conversation with Richard, even though briefly. And yeah, coming up to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Yes, Lady Michelle's cat had knocked that tranny radio on the floor, so I managed to find the bits under the thing. I will put a snooker ball, not snooker, pool ball or cue ball in my pocket, prepared for Comrades Club. But in fact, I went to a load of other places in the village. I was looking for any shops that might be open, but I did go into the Brendan Blue and blend and brew. There's Abhishek, and then I basically did a tour, and practically every place was closed. Back end of the day, had a burger to eat, and back into the Comrades Club again. I was in there several times. Back home, yeah, June's watching something on the telly. The Samantha and Michelle over at Saskia's partying or whatever in the house. Yeah, look at those horrible stripes. And yeah, put the tracker on charge, and there's Lady relaxing. Right, that's the end of the summary. So now into the photos and the order shot. Yes, Samantha put in the files away that had been taken out from the work. That was the previous day, and so I used the opportunity to just show again the workshop area and the fact that we've got lots of space there for things to be put in the right place. And it's good that Samantha did put those files back in the right place rather than just leave them lying around. And there's enough for me wittering on. Yeah, so I just took a few snaps of the garden, not much different. And yes, I wonder when Juno noticed that I've cut the rose bush back. Yeah, so there's the pond, much the same as it has been, gone down low. So job in the queue. Winter is the time to do it. Yes, there's the utility room, and yeah, good. Samantha doing a little bit of work there. Yeah, there's Homer all deflated, and I had a look, and yeah, no, he's not working. But he says all the necessary bits are there, including the transformer. I remember putting that in years ago, and yeah, simply somehow that wire got chopped. So easy job to fix. There's Lady relaxing, and Toadie, both in Michelle's bedroom on the bed. How about that? Both sharing the same bed. Right. And some dialogue going on there. Yeah, look at it. So it's 1:30, is it, in the afternoon? Look at those horrible stripes when I take a photo off the screen. And yeah, so that's them in Screwfix. I think they went back for the stuff that they forgot, files, and that's the camera which has given me problems, which I think are fixed now. Yes, those horrible stripes. I think it was because the shutter speed was too fast, and in fact I've set it slower, and and so we should be better in low light conditions. Anyhow, what that was showing was the update to the DVLA page, or the DVLA Funny Farm page. Yeah, so closed circuit TV, probably relaxing. Yes, that's the view there of Homer, all deflated. And yes, looks like, yeah, they're back from Screwfix. Michelle bought some extra bits, and Richard had a little slippery fall down the slope. And I didn't realise until I saw June was laughing and over there with him. So I had a few minutes with Richard, and I did mention that Michelle had done a good job on their leaky sink, far more than that. Rearranging simply the plumbing. Yeah, some snaps there at the front, and of course that bicycle. And that was a topic with Utah and others. So sometime we might do something about it. There's the flatulent fairy. And there, simple job. So I did it as safely as I could with lots of duct tape around it, but I'm sure Michelle would do it more neatly. And of course, the pump that we use as a, before realising that that's all we had to do, if it's untangled there, we've got another product that we bought from Longacres. Looks like rain's coming on. Yes, so probably saying, right, put things back in the right place. And the right place at the moment, yeah, duct tape in that drawer. Yeah, the snips up there on the wall. What else is there? Yeah, that horrible striping. Didn't know what it was yesterday. And I was trying to get pictures off the screen showing the weather. And I said, yeah, something wrong with that camera. Hopefully it's set now. Yes, there's the test rig for checking a servo to death for the robot boat. And yeah, it looks like peanuts need to go out on the bridge just outside the back. And back into the untidy games room and the lounge, coming up to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Right, yes, that's most annoying. Lady had knocked that down, and then I pushed the furniture out of the way and managed to find the batteries and the cover that sort of got tucked away. So was able to then put that together and listening to the Radio 4 news. And yeah, all working well. Put it back where it was on the comfy chair. Right, there's, looks like when we might get some rain coming through. You got those stripes. I just find that annoying, but you can still read it. I was experimenting with different things then. So now he says, time to go out. Since I might be going to the Comrades Club, I'll take that lead weighted cue ball. 3:10 when I leave the house. Yes, dressed suitably with my Father Christmas hat. Past Homer, now reasonably inflated, just needs tidying up a little bit. So that was just a few minutes to do. And there's still work there for Samantha, possibly overseen by Michelle. Right, walking down into the village. So there's quite a long photo trail here, but of course it's light. So into the area past the Comrades Club, and yes, Blend and Brew had a lunch snack there. There's Abhishek. There's their Christmas tree. I did comment they haven't got a fairy at the top of it. That's what I hope I might be able to buy. June didn't want it. She wanted like they had, which is just a star. So I was doing a tour of the village to see anywhere that was open, and partly out of curiosity, and of course if I was lucky, if there had been a place open, I might have bought something. Yeah, Sunninghill Homes Wines was open, of course, and I looked in the window and there were some nice things there. Might have ended up being an impulse buy Christmas present for somebody like June. Goldilocks and the Three Bears is on in the village, probably the Quince players. Yeah, we went right the way down just to check and confirm that these places were shut. And yeah, including Thames Hospice. But then again, why not? Got volunteers, and those volunteers got to enjoy Christmas if they can. Yes. So back over the railway bridge and the railway. Yeah, 3-1 barbers. They were just closing, but Lena stuck my head through the door and wished them a happy Christmas. Flame Kebab and Sorrentina, of course both of those places were open. And Comrades Club, yes, spent quite a lot of time in the Comrades Club, but no photos. And had my burger in the Flame Kebab, enjoyable, and then back into the Comrades Club again. Yes, quite a bit of time there. And in fact, I was getting tired, so I ended up, I don't know what time I left, might have been 9 o'clock in the evening, 9:15, and would have been there much longer, but I thought, no, let's get to bed a bit earlier than I would normally do. Yeah, there we go, 9:05 when I got back, so I must have left there about 9ish. Tracker shows where I'd been. Anybody interested would have seen. Yeah, there's that stripy lines, but showing more detail. And yeah, back home, just here at 22 Armitage Court. Yes, there's Toadie having a evening supper, and yes, reminded of those newsletter pictures of the work that Michelle had been doing, and of course that showed very well the plumbing at that time 11 years ago, so pretty well it was unchanged, the drainage from when the extension was built. And as I might have said, I think that was about £3,000 fixed price, and she basically ripped the whole kitchen out in order that I could level the floor. And those are photos which I took today, so that was from 11 years ago. So that's the end of the photo trail.
I think I warned you it would be, you can't see my face as I'm using the smartphone, that it would be a long, probably boring photo trails, but we're about to go into the material. There we go, there's me using the smartphone because none of my cameras are working. And so yes, there's the expensive Renoir, and the earlier material about global warming and my suggestions about the DVLA. I think that started at about here. Now what I put on the screen, because global warming is rare in itself, it's something that's been on my grumpy page for years. The remarkable James Lovelock, who passed away on the 26th of July, his 103rd birthday. I'll read out what this says here. This has been on the grumpy page for years, not long after the publication of his book, Revenge of Gaia. We can't stop global warming, but we may delay it by a few decades to give us time to prepare for its effects. Vast areas of the world, including as close as continental Europe, becoming arid desert, shrinking of habitable areas of the planet to much smaller parts of the planet, closer to the poles. The Earth will then only be able to support a small fraction of its present population, and there will be a need for massive migration. Places like the UK will remain temperate a little longer, so be an attractive destination. We need all world governments to cooperate to prepare for this inevitability. Also to agree things like reduce use of fossil fuels to give us a few more decades to prepare. And then it goes on. The above is not a quote, but how I remember what James Lovelock said in his book, The Revenge of Gaia, etc. That's been unchanged on my site for years. And right, well, the other thing I should mention, yes, retired, happy and spending their kids' inheritance, is for some time now I've not been able to drive due to, well, several mistakes at the DVLA. And what I will say is that I have new evidence of what happened inside the DVLA, which I won't publish yet because I'm still waiting for the reply to the letter which was delivered by recorded delivery to the head of the DVLA and also other people. So I'll put in at the end of this long video the video that's gone up, me talking about the DVLA, and basically in summary it says I don't want anybody to get into trouble, and that is definitely the case, and resigning is too easy. Problems need to be fixed. But quite honestly, that is a minor thing compared with all the other things that are going on in the world, not least wars, and of course what's in the background and very important is global warming. So let's run into that. Back in 2012.
Seen the launch of a transatlantic sailing attempt this morning in a model boat. Retired NATO scientist Robin Lovelock launched his Snoop Loop from Barton-on-Sea towards the Bahamas. It's already been tested over 5,000 miles on a lake in Berkshire. The model will be steered and tracked through a satellite system and by Snoopy, of course, and it should make the crossing in 6 months, if it survives, that is.
The most important thing of the lot, of course, is Snoopy the Viking, the skipper, I don't think he'd make it otherwise. We've also got another bit and piece here. This is a GPS logger that logs the position every 15 minutes. That was back in 2012. The guy that put this material together, including the live broadcast and what went up on the BBC website, is Ben Moore.
I just worried for Snoopy. Sport now and Hampshire.
Right, on to the next topic. Right. Now, I'm going to do this all in one take. All unrehearsed and unscripted, so sorry about that. What I'd like to happen, if anybody picks up on the DVLA story, is, as I say, nobody getting into trouble, and that's a genuine request, but when they find flaws in procedures where they don't cover certain things, be good if those are fixed. What I think would be useful for anybody looking at the DVLA and perhaps helping them is, first of all, their organisation chart showing the structure. Yes, it's well known who the head of the DVLA, remarkable woman, looking at her CV, and relevant to this story is the head of the health part. But it would be very useful to see, even if names aren't attached, obviously the names can be attached where they're public already, is how many people in each branch, how many people are reporting to how many. So a simple tree would help. I suggest that first of all. Then, perhaps even more important, is how many people working for the DVLA, even if you don't identify the individuals, are salaried by the DVLA excuse me, directly, as opposed to contracted through an agency or a business. That is very important, and we've seen what's been happening in places like the NHS for years. So that comes into the equation in terms of whether money is well spent, and of course the DVLA collects a lot of money, and there are probably other things as well, but as a starting point, I'd hope anybody that responds to this, I can't afford to get overloaded, we've got other things to do, many other things to do, and we'll be taking a holiday. That'll be public, yes. I'm tracked everywhere by different things, and in fact, if anybody's paranoid about it, anybody who's tracking somebody or looking at somebody's probably seen already. But at the end of the day, there's me wittering on, which is one of my major weaknesses since I was a little child. That's why if you put things up, clearly be careful what you put up, and often it can do some good. I'm now in the kitchen, and June's rustling up some food in the microwave for Samantha, and here's Samantha, and of course there's tennis on the television, just for a change. So, oh yes, point out, holidays in we're going off to Sicily again soon, and into the hall. Yes, nice expensive paintings here. Yep, expensive little pocket camera, not expensive. And through into the lounge and out to wrap up this video by saying, look after yourselves, stay safe, and enjoy what days we have. Yes, it's now middle of March 2024, and the font's changed quite a bit. I'll have to change the copyright statement at the end, but the message is the same. Look after yourselves, stay safe, and enjoy life while we can. Oh yeah, my hair's grown a bit since then.